Push the intro button. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, here I am. All right. Howdy. Welcome to Randsanity. Welcome to episode 215. Now, if you haven't been here before, that's okay because I just start a new one each night. So it's not really this continuum. So if you missed episode 214 or episode 2, it's all the same. It's just different stuff happens on different days. Births, deaths, all that good stuff. People who are born, people who died, events that happened, things that got going on, and then sort of, just music stuff in general. So I'm going to start off tonight with, because it's going to be a full moon, and I'm not going to do any top 25 lists or, just countdowns or blah. I think that's kind of tripe and tedious and boring and just shit. That's where that's at. So I'm not going to do any of that. Okay? So there you go. What I am going to do is I'm going to start tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about metal. Okay? Because I do like metal. That's what I kind of grew up on. My first real intro to music was metal. Growing up in New York, that was a popular genre. So metal music was where I really got my teeth cut growing up. Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, that's where it started. That was what my real music education was. So the landscape of metal was vast and very impressive over the last 12 months of 2025. And there's been some great heavy metal albums that have stood out. So before we get too deep into 2026, let's look back at some of the best heavy metal albums from 2025. That'll continue. I think that'll be good. First off, we can start with Private Music by the Deftones. Okay. I mean, first of all, the Deftones are great. Okay. New Gaze Gods returned in 25 with a brand new album, 5 years in the making, and it is absolutely does not disappoint. It bursts with fast moments and then slows down time like a plane coming in for a hard landing. I mean, it is the stuff. Private Music reunited the band with producer Nick Razaluzik, who worked on both Diamond Eyes in 2010 and Koino Yoken in 2012. And it's very obvious. The sound you can hear, it's right back to where it was. The tones here are similar to those albums with big contrast and bright, deep sounds. Deftones, right on the mark. Just another time. If you see them able to tour this summer at festivals, go check that out. Lonely People with Power by Deaf Haven. Okay, I didn't really get too much deep into this, but it's a band that every time I think they can't possibly top themselves, they just do. The band's 2025 album, Lonely People with Power, is a masterclass. But it's a masterclass in what they do, specifically because this band is practically genre free. Okay, undescribable. No one, and I mean no one, sounds like the Deaf Havens. You can call them black gaze if you want, but even within that definition, they stand alone in their sound. What makes Lonely People with Power such a perfect album, it's the intentionality. The way you can distinctly hear what they're doing and how they expertly accomplish it. It's a collection of heavy musical art that was truly nurtured. It is just a unique sound that, worth getting into a little bit more. One of those bands that if you haven't heard them and you hear them for the first time, you're going to kind of go, that's different. That's a very different sound. Next up, we've got by Dying Wish, The Flesh Stays Together. Okay. Now, I've been saying this for a bit. Okay. That one is doing with metalcore with Dying Wish does. Okay. Their new album, Flesh Stays Together, makes it's sort of so much like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's brutal hardcore. It's infused with heavy metal precision and breakdowns that could crumble like, Mount Everest. It is just that deep. Okay. Now Lorna Shore with I Feel the Ever Black Festering Within Me. I'm going to call this one a little bit, probably one of the better deathcore albums of the year. It really is. I like these guys, okay? I just feel justified in saying that this record is flawless, you know? On Everblack, we find the band in peak form, amping up those killer solos and building on the sympathetic elements that is so famous for them. All the while, frontman Will Ramos takes advantage of the opportunity to write lyrics that are more personal and more candid than ever before. There's something that I feel strongly that this should push deathcore forward. It's into a more mature space now, and I believe that this is the only band that can do that. I really do. Next we've got Gold Star by Imperial Triumphant. Okay, this is New York City experimental aficionados. These guys torched the metal scene in 2025 with their speakeasy death jazz album Gold Star. From its first track to its last, the record is profoundly unique. Some moments feel slightly dangerous and unrestricted. Others kind of walk you through this beautiful corridor of glittering sound while easing around the chaos taking place in it. It's nothing short of phenomenal. It really is. It's also a really good one. Inveighing Brilliance by Tribal Gaze. Now, Tribal Gaze is a little bit fascinating. In 5 years, they've gone from just forming as a band in Texas to making this masterpiece of a sophomore album. I remember listening to me the first time, it's quite some time ago when I was flying, and I was just baffled at how these guys crafted, this death metal album worthy of envy from even the most dedicated genre icons. This is skull crushing music. It really is. It's skull crushing music at its finest. Another one we've got is Hideous Aftermath by Sangus Sugabog. Okay? In the year when metal saw major growth, it's important that we include these guys from Ohio, okay? Sangus Sugabog in the conversation. These guys have been cranking some of the best modern gore grind for years, okay? We've had these guys play, and they are like fire. Hideous Aftermath is this, it's a slaughtering of everything in its path with dark, deathy riffs. It's their early stuff like Cannibal Holocaust, and it's like this Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit. Had them play because we always try to have metal bands play, and these guys just, have continued to do it. Definitely check that out, especially if you're in Ohio and you want to hear some good metal. Go for it. Give these guys a shot. All right, I'm going to bang all these things and say hi, 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 hi. Spire of Fear by King Yosef. Okay. This industrial core sounds of King Yosef is cooking. Okay. Your ears might not be ready for this one. They've been honing their craft for years, and it's all led to this 2025 album. And this moment, Spire of Fear is slightly blackened and chock full of breakdowns, but never loses sight of its purpose and thoroughly and unconditionally fucks you up because it is just there. Discipline and Punish by Cold Steel. It's been less than 2 months since Cold Steel dropped their new album, Discipline and Punish. But you only need to one listen to know it is the best thrash record of the year, hands down. Okay, I would say drop this on if you want to hear some good screaming stuff. Hailing from Florida, the project makes it clear that Cold Steel boys are here to shred, and they shred and shred and shred. It's this Florida scene that I talked about a little bit the other day, and there's a lot of music coming out of Florida that is just this angry music, and these guys do not disappoint. They absolutely do not. We've got a band out of it's called Spirit Box, okay, and their album is Tsunami Sea. Okay, these guys, it's what you would say is a torch-bearer band. The fan base is growing, and they're absolutely poised for arena headlining a metal band. So, listen for these guys. They're up for Grammy consideration, okay? Spirit Box, all right? They work their asses off to get there. They play everywhere. Trying to sit and explain this to why Tsunami C is perfect feels like a waste of time. It's just so obvious. The band is not watering down their sound to be anything they aren't, and their creativity is undeniably firing on all cylinders. So there's just a list of some of the 2025 metal albums that continue and will continue to be good in 2026. So jump back and listen to a couple of those. If you missed any, just let me know and I can kind of repeat it. But yeah, there's a couple in there that are just, they're going to be really good. They're going to be blazing it all the way into the year. So just, that's what happens. You know, sometimes you got to come out and listen to metal stuff. Woo! Almost a full moon tomorrow night. So the lunatics will be out. So, you know, if you're of that mindset, the full moon always makes me a little bit crazy. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's the whole, you know, we're made out of water, 98% water, and the moon pulls the water. So it just kind of pulls your brain. Lunatic. You know, that's, you know, lunatics. Mm-hmm. Fanatics. Lunatic. It's the moon. Lunar. I could be lying, but I don't think I am. 1965, Elvis Presley went to number 1 on the U.S. album chart with a soundtrack from Roustabout, Presley's 8th number 1, 1965 on January the 2nd, 1965. Elvis the Pelvis making it happen. 1969, John Lennon's entire shipment of his album Two Virgins was seized by authorities in New Jersey, of all places, due to the full front nudity on the photograph of the couple on the cover. They basically had to wrap them in brown plain paper to sell them in record stores. So, you know, people's eyes weren't offended by nudity on an album cover in 1969. Yes, free love, peace, and joy. Damn hippies. And this is what I talked about before. Local bands. Everywhere, bands had to start somewhere. And that's what radio's job was. In 1969, Led Zeppelin played the first of 4 nights at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles. It is not a giant club, okay? That was part of their first North American tour. The support group was Alice Cooper Band. I'm sure tickets were like, you know, $4 or something ridiculous. That's how that works, right? In 1969, the Beatles began filming the rehearsal for Let It Be album. The project ran into several problems, including George Harrison walking out on the group on January 10th. The hell, George. More George Harrison news. In 1971, George Harrison's album All Things Must Pass started a 7-week run at number 1 on the U.S. album chart, making Harrison's first solo Beatle to score a U.S. number 1 album after being with the Beatles, since they broke up in 1970. The triple album included the hit single My Sweet Lord. Shit. Got to get that fixed. I tried to fix it. I really did, but I screwed it up. It's not fixed. So I don't know what's wrong with that camera. And I can't get it to work, damn it. So if anyone has suggestions of how to fix the D5300 Nikon so it doesn't turn off after 20 minutes, tell me. Because I did try and do what you suggested. But the problem is that, guess what? Didn't work because that one setting that I was told to check on, it doesn't exist. It doesn't have that setting. So, yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't have that one setting. So we have to go back to square one because I went to look at the settings of how to fix it and I couldn't do it. So, bummer for me. Anyway, so the triple album included his hit single, My Sweet Lord, and What Is Life, as well as such songs as Isn't It a Pity, and the title track, one of them was turned down by the Beatles. This happened on the 2nd of January in 1971. Well, George Harrison, again, if you move forward to 2007, okay, 2007. So Kristen Keller. Now, this is the woman that broke into George Harrison's home in Hawaii. We talked about this, that she basically went into his home, cooked himself a frozen pizza, did some laundry, and sat on the couch and watched TV, and then got busted being in his house. Okay? That Kristen Keller. All right. So she was found dead of an apparent murder-suicide in California at the age of 34. So, this is, police said her body had been found with that of a 48-year-old man in a car, both had gunshot wounds to their head. So, I mean, what? So she was unhinged, breaking into George Harrison's house. Apparently she didn't get better over the preceding decades. Little jail time didn't fix that shit, and she was still a wackadoodle, apparently. I just, I didn't know the woman, but I'm just guessing that she didn't get better. I'm just saying. It just seems like it. In 1979, the punkest punk band of all time, the Sex Pistols bassist Sid Vicious, went on trial in New York accused of murdering his girlfriend Nancy Spungen. This is the murder that happened 3 months earlier, when he claimed to have awoken from a drugged stupor to find Spungen dead on the bathroom floor of the hotel room. Nobody else had been in the room, according to the police. So this is when good old Sid went on trial. Good old Sid Vicious. What are you going to do, right? Larry Williams. Nah, we won't talk about Larry Williams. He died. David Lynch, not the actor David Lynch, but David Lynch, of a musician guy, also died. So that happens too. 1985, Rolling Stones' Ron Wood married his girlfriend Jo Wooden Gerrards Cross in Buckinghamshire, England. Guests included Keith Richards, Bill Wyman, of course, Charlie Watts, Ringo Starr, Rod Stewart, and Jeff Beck. The couple divorced in 2009. I mean, that's a long time for Ron Wood to stay married. Got to give him credit. I mean, shit, man. Rock stars don't stay married for that long. Just saying. Let's see. The top UK singles of 1989. Kylie Minogue was number 1. Bros number 2. Yaz number 3. Tiffany number 4. Phil Collins number 5. Cliff Richard number 6. Erasure number 7. Pet Shop Boys number 8. Belinda Carlisle number 9. And 10 was Wet, Wet, Wet. I did not know there was an artist called Wet, Wet, Wet. We're just going to let that one go. I have no further comment on that one. Woo, shit. Favorite movie was Vicious. Yeah. My favorite thing is I got to meet Johnny Lydon, Johnny Rotten. He was one of the very first stars I ever met when I was doing radio. And we went backstage with this guy, Dave Watson, who was the record rep. And it was Public Image Limited, and they finished a show. It was down in like Hara Arena or something. And we go backstage, and he's like, "Wanka!" And I was like, "What?" I'm like this 20-year-old kid, and he's like yelling at me. I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Okay." Like, "Hi." And he's like, "Yeah, he's the radio guy." It's, "Oh, you little wanker, you little radio fucking bitch." He's just like yelling and screaming. It was fucking hilarious because I was just like, "Oh, okay." And the record rep was like, "Don't worry about it. He's just always this way." And I'm like, "Okay." My voice is cracking. And it was funny. Okay, you had to be there. Or you can just imagine it. Imagine meeting like, a big rock star or someone the first time who's just like, not like, "Oh, hi, so nice to meet you." They're like, "Wanker!" Shit. What am I going to do, right? Anyway, 1994, Meatloaf started a 3-week run at the #1 slot on the UK album chart with the 6th studio album, Bat Out of Hell 2. Back into Hell. The LP, which featured the single "I'll Do Anything for Love," also topped charts in the US and Australia, and it sold more than 14 million copies worldwide. Now remember, Meatloaf starred in what movie? His name is Robert Paulson. That was Meatloaf in the movie Fight Club. He was the one that got killed. And in life, we don't speak their name, but in death, we do. His name was Robert Paulson. Now, this is what I talked about before. Randy California. I'm like, oh, cool. Randy California. It's a cool name. It says, oh, guitarist Randy California from Rio's group Spirit drowned. I'm like, oh. I was like, well, that's kind of sad. And then I was like, I could just stop right there. Okay. And I should just stop right there. Because the rest of the reason that he drowned isn't great. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, that sucks even worse. So I just, I'm not going to share it. I'm not going to share how Randy California drowned. But let's put it this way. He drowned in Hawaii. So at least he drowned somewhere. California drowned in Hawaii. But I won't say why. Because it's just not great. I was like, fuck. Now this, to me, is the best number one that I've said for a minute. Because this one you have to love, okay? And if you don't love it, well, then just fuck off. You can just fuck all the way off. In 1999, Chef went number one on the UK singles chart with Chocolate Salty Balls. P.S. I love you. Chef appeared in the cult TV series South Park. The voice was Isaac Hayes, who had a hit with Shaft in 1971. So can you believe that? Honestly, that's fucking brilliant. Chef, number one on the UK singles chart with Chocolate Salty Balls. P.S. I love you. On this day, January 2nd, 1999. Right? Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love the fact that Chocolate Salty Balls actually charted? It actually charted. Which is just, come on. That's just brilliant. I love that so much. Put links up to the metal band Randy. Hi, Jeremy Hughes. Holy shit. It's Jeremy Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy Hughes. I will. I'll put some links up to the metal bands. But that's amazing, Jeremy Hughes. Nice to see you, buddy. You still owe me a conversation from 6 months ago. But that's all right. You're busy. Someone has to be successful. Jeremy, you have to check out the TikTok. You have to come over and check it out. Anyway, that's I love that. Backstreet Boys' Nick Carter was arrested in Tampa, Florida after a fight. Police said Carter was arguing with a woman, and when they asked him to leave, he continued arguing. He was arrested on a misdemeanor count of resisting a law enforcement officer without violence. Nick's not a violent guy. I've met Nick Carter many times, and he's very, very nice. He would never be violent. I can't even believe he was arrested, though. To me, I'm like, really? Does not seem like that guy. That happened in 2002. But I was like, Now, speaking of someone that I could see getting arrested, 50 Cent. 50 Cent got arrested in 2003 by New York police after guns were found in his vehicle, after his SUV was searched when it had been left in a no parking zone outside of a club. The police found a .25 caliber handgun and a .45 caliber pistol. Both guns were loaded. Yeah, well, you'll have that. That's not so great. You won't want to do that there, Mr. 50 Cent. That doesn't work so well. Especially in New York. You don't want to have guns in New York. That doesn't work too good. In 2005, Green Day were number one on the UK album chart with their 7th album, American Idiot. The album went on to be nominated for 7 Grammy Awards, winning the Best Rock Album of 2005. Yes. What a good album. American Idiot was so good. Love that. Love it. Big fan. Love Green Day. I could listen to Green Day all day. And I did. I listened to Green Day earlier. In 2007, Gnarls Barkley's song Crazy was confirmed as the biggest selling UK single of 2006, selling over 700,000 copies. The track, which was the first to reach number one on downloads alone, held off the challenger of the X Factor winner, Leon. Come on, really? Thank God. Snow Patrol's album Eyes Open topped the album chart with estimated sales of 1.5 million. While Take That's comeback release, Beautiful World, came in just behind that. Single sales had doubled to over 65 million since the download chart was launched in September of 2004. That's a beautiful thing. Wired. What? Josh Groban, America's top-selling album artist of 2007. The 26-year-old. Hits included You Raise Me Up, had the best-selling album of the year with the Christmas compilation Noel, which sold close to 3.7 million copies. The second biggest seller of the soundtrack for Disney's High School Musical 2. Come on, really? Disney's High School Musical 2? Fuck. The Eagles were 2007's biggest selling group with sales of 3.5 million albums. High School Musical. Ugh, God. The pain I'm suffering just having to think about that. Let's see. Did you mean Leon? Yes, Leona Lewis. Right. Book nerd, yep. The High School Musical 2 was a good soundtrack. Oh, come on. I mean, really? I don't know. I'm just really not a big High School Musical soundtrack guy. Just saying. In 2009, according to official U.S. sales figures, AC/DC were the biggest sellers of the 2008 year with over 3.4 million sales. To promote the group's latest album, Black Ice, Columbia Records created Rock Again AC/DC stores, as well as Black Ice trunks, which were distributed on the streets of New York, Los Angeles, while playing AC/DC music aloud and making various stops each day to sell merchandise. They'll be coming here this summer, playing the Ohio Stadium. So if you want to go see AC/DC this summer, they will play the Horseshoe for a gigantic crowd. So that should be exciting. I look forward to being at that show and working probably at that show. So that will be fun. I can't wait to see that. That will be a good thing. Adele in 2016 was #1 on the U.S. album chart with her third studio album, 25. I don't get why she numbers it. I forgot. We read this and I talked about it, but I don't know. I'm just like, whatever, Adele, come on. The album was a massive commercial success, debuting at #1 in more than 25 markets. It broke first week record sales. It had multiple #1s in multiple countries, including the UK, United States. It sold 3.4 million copies in the first week of release, making it the largest single week sales for an album since the Nielsen SoundScan began tracking point-of-sale music purchases in 1991. So Adele rivaling Taylor Swift with trying to get those records of things. Yeah, that's what I said. You heard me. Taylor Swift, once again. She just seems to be that way. In 2019, American musician and songwriter Daryl Dragon died of kidney failure at the age of 76. Who's Daryl Dragon? You totally know who Daryl Dragon is. He's the captain of Captain and Tennille. Tony Tennille, his ex-wife, they had lots and lots of #1 hits. Love Will Keep Us Together. Love will keep us together. Do That to Me One More Time. Muskrat Love, which I was like, really? What the fuck is Muskrat Love? They had their own TV show in like 1976 to 77. You can watch them on YouTube. He also worked on the Beach Boys release in 1972. But yeah, Captain and Tennille. He always wore like the captain outfit. I never understood any of it. I mean, that's all right. Sometimes I don't have to, get it. It doesn't always work that way. Okay, so Alan Rankin died. Kingside Taylor died. Christy Craver died. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. See, just not a lot of tours, so you don't get all that tour stuff. So I don't have that for you. I have a couple births. So born today on the January of the 2nd, Jack Hanna, our own Jack Hanna of the Columbus Zoo. I've met Jack a couple times. Very nice. I heard he's not doing so well health-wise, unfortunately. I think he's got the Alzheimer's. Tough way to go for Jack. But he was always fun to watch on TV, with his crazy animals, like Marlon Perkins of, Mutual of Omaha. Green Day sticker on your Jetta. Nice. You got to love that. Fiddy also predict the internet would just create a few rich people and turn the rest of us into a-holes. Learned that this morning. So maybe he wasn't that far off. 50 Cent. Tina Carrera, born on this day. She's 59. Tina Carrera from Wayne's World. You know, Babylicious. Wayne's World, We're Not Worthy. And Cuba Gooding Jr. Show me the money. 58 today. Cuba Gooding Jr. Now let's see. Who died today? All right. Who died today? Allen Hale Jr. Do we know who Alan Hale Jr. is? Alan Hale Jr. Come on. The worst song ever. Yeah, it is the baddest song. Alan Hale Jr. Yeah, exactly. He would freak out Letterman for sure. Alan Hale Jr., he was the skipper. That's right. He was the skipper on Gilligan's Island. Alan Hale Jr., he died at the age of 68. I found this one. I was like, I will have to take that mantle. That is going to be all my videos are going to be based on this now. So I was trying to find what is my genre going to be. I was talking to my team a little bit, saying we need to get together and talk about this. And I think I found it. Since I saw it today and he died today on this day, Bob Einstein. Okay? Bob Einstein. If you don't know who Bob Einstein is, go Google Super Dave Osborne. Yes. Super Dave Osborne. Holy shit. He was fucking hilarious. Okay. And I can totally see that. Just this deadpan humor of just like, it's like the Kenny routine. You know, he just gets his ass kicked and killed every single time. I'm so there. I so love that. So there it is. Super Dave Osborne died on this day. He died at 76. So we talked about Randy, California. He died at the age of 45 in Hawaii, drowned. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that because the rest of the story is just fucking worse. Super Dave! I know, right? I am so going to make Super Dave videos. I can totally do that. I love that idea. Yes! Super Dave. Oh my God, I love that so much. Zach Foley of EMF died on this day. He was only 31. It's unbelievable. Oh, yeah. Well, it is not unbelievable that he died because he did. So, sorry. I talked about Daryl Dragon. Died at the age of 76. So, full moon. Full moon tomorrow night. The first full moon of January 2026. First full moon of the year, only 3 days into the year. So, yes, if you've been feeling the water being pulled at you, it's because it is that. It's the full moon. So, you know, you gotta feel that full moon pull. That's the way that works. Yeah, I know, right? So the video is up. There's a short video, but there's a video of me breaking my ribs. And that's real. Okay, that shit's not fake. Okay, you know, that was at a Matt and Kim show. I talked to Matt and Kim before the concert, backstage hanging out with the band. They're like, you should crowd surf. I'm like, I'm totally crowd surfing. We're going to go crowd surf. Woo, crowd surfing. Totally crowd surfed. Got dropped crowd surfing. Laughing, thought it was hilarious. I videotaped, had a GoPro on my wrist. Oh, went backstage after the show. I'm like, oh yeah, drop me on my back. I'm going to feel this tomorrow. Oh, the adrenaline's running high, maybe a cocktail or two. Fuck, I woke up the next day and I was like, I can't breathe. I need to go to the doctor. And sure as shit, cracked 2 ribs. So, yeah. Tell you what, if you've never cracked ribs, on the rating scale of 0 to 5, I give it a 0. Not recommended. You know, do not attempt. Not recommended. Breaking ribs sucks. It really does. The problem is they can't do shit for it. They don't wrap you because you get pneumonia and you'll die. So you basically have to just suck it up and you have to take deep breaths anyway. So laughing, sneezing, coughing, anything of that nature is just punishment. So what's up, UT Babat? Babat, what's up? I was just talking about the video that we're putting up, and I was talking to my team today, trying to come up with what is because I want to start shooting videos. I said, all right, we've done this now. This is episode 215. So I've done this for close to a year, to 3/4 of a year. We've done this 215 episodes in. And I think we have it sort of down to where we're going to do, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. Maybe it's tweaks along the way. I want to start interviewing. I want to get some interviews with people. I've already got a couple lined up. But I need to do something for videos. We need something that's outside the live. And I was like, we just need to come up with that concept. And then I saw that Mr. Bob Einstein died today. Today was the day that Bob Einstein died. And he was Super Dave Osborne. And I was like, oh my God, there it is. It was like a fucking lightning bolt. I'm like, holy shit, there it is. I was like, oh, the angels like screamed, the clouds parted, the sun came out. It wasn't 2 degrees outside. And I was like, holy shit, Super Dave. That's it right there. So I'm going to have to do Super Dave shit, which I can totally do, which fits with everything. And the fact that the first video we dropped is a real one of me being dropped and breaking my ribs. So there it is. I love that, right? Is that brilliant? Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you very much. And Jeremy, do call me. I would like to see you, my friend. I truly would. We need to get together and talk. And I want to know, because I have questions about footage I might want to get from you if I can. You'll have to let me know. Anyway, so yes, Super Dave. That's there it is. So I'm going to let my team know. Don't forget to hit the like button. Follow if you don't follow. Subscribe if you don't subscribe. Notify if you don't notify. And if you look in the bio thing on the YouTube, don't forget to go check out me with Stephen He in the YouTube series, Heinz Verified. So you got to look for that. I'm the co-star, quote unquote co-star. It was nice enough that I got to hang out with Stephen He and be the driver and never get fed. But that was all right. It was a hoot. Loved doing it. I want to do more of it, Jeremy. But day tripping. Heinz Verified. A lot of fun. That was a blast. But I'd like to do that again. I need more road trips. I need more road trips in my life. So my goal is to get it to Madrid, Spain this summer. That's my goal, and it's, going to have to earn some money to get there, but I definitely want to go see this festival in Madrid and report on that because the band lineup is fucking insane. It is just, if you're an alternative rock music fan like moi, it is one of those lineups that is just to die for. So I will try my best to make that happen. Yes, I will. Anyway, did everyone's New Year's resolution? Did anybody cancel out the resolution yet? I didn't start one this year because I didn't want to disappoint myself and quit. So I have no New Year's resolution because that just is something that you're just, destined to fail if you try and do something with a very short window of resolving to, I resolve to not do this anymore. What's going on here? What is it? What is this thing telling me that's what my problem is? I don't know what this thing's telling me. There's a problem. I'm looking at the camera and it's telling me that there's nonsense. Okay, what? Live will end in 4 minutes if I can't verify that I'm a real person. What the fuck does that mean? That's ridiculous. I don't understand how that works. There we go. All right. Am I better now? Jesus. TikTok made me jump through all sorts of fucking hoops. I don't know what that means. Not sure how I can interpret that any differently than it just doesn't love me. Just doesn't love me. Anyway, let's see. Anything else I should report on? Looking through my notes that I took today. Brief history of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I can give you a brief history of Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, these guys came into light out in California on the surf scene kind of thing. Their first co-writing experience, they said, turned into their entire band personality. It was a brief history of the track Californication, the black sheep of the 1999 album of the same name. Basically, they started carving out a more popular space for themselves with the release of Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic in 1991. The band's next big offering came in 1999. And of course, in between, there was One Hot Minute, which took a drastic left turn stylistically due to John Frusciante's departure, Dave Navarro's guest spot, and Anthony Kiedis' return to drugs. But the Chili Peppers got their train back on the funk rock track with Californication. The album produced several huge hits, including Other Side and Scar Tissue, but the title track held the most sway with fans and critics. It topped a couple of Billboard charts and was named the best Red Hot Chili Peppers song in multiple publications. According to an interview with Kiedis around the album's release, his blonde era to be exact, remember he used to have those flowing blonde locks? So probably 1999, early 2000. Californication came about after Kiedis and Frusciante sifted through a mountain of lyrics. The first song we tried to write, said Kiedis, John and I tried to write a song, Californication, because I had pages and pages and pages and pages of words for that song. Too many words. He continued, so I went to John and I said, I've got these lyrics and I've got this melody. Can we put some music to it? And he said, yeah, we can do that. The humble beginnings of Californication eventually exploded into the Red Hot Chili Peppers' entire aesthetic. With the song on the album, they further cemented themselves as Los Angeles' treasure. They even sued Showtime in 2007 over the David Duchovny-led series of the same name. We talked about that like a month ago because they had done that in like November of 2007. Although the producer was actually inspired by a 70s bumper sticker reading "Don't Californicate Oregon," as was explained during the lawsuit, they didn't coin the term or trademark it before Showtime did. But it becomes synonymous with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Still, as Kiedis explained, it took several drafts to get it to that level. We started and we thought we had it, he said, and then somewhere along the way, we just threw it all out and started again. Said, that wasn't right. So the very first song we started to write was actually the last song that they finished. Kiedis continued, it wasn't until we were almost done recording that John said, you know that song that you came up with at the very beginning? Let's do something different with it, he said. I think I have it finally. Frusciante then came through with the recognizable opening guitar riff. He played me these very sparse, kind of spacey sounding guitar notes, Kiedis explained. And I said, how does that work? And he said, like this. Cue the sweeping chorus, Dream of Californication. The mantric repetition iconically set against the backdrop of bleak Hollywood reality in each verse. Musically, it's a black sheep of the album. But as Kiedis said in his 2004 memoir, as soon as I heard it, I knew it was our new song. So, never give up. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. You write too much shit down and your brain gets fried. You start doing drugs again. Remember, kids, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Don't drive angry. God damn it. I got to get that fixed. Please coming out, get out bomb. It's true. It is. It's apparently. Mm-hmm. Matt and Kim are dangerous. They are. I know, right? I know. Matt and Kim show. I know. It happens, man. It happens. What can I tell you? I mean, look, I've crowd surfed before. Right? Don't get me wrong. I've crowd surfed before. The issue being is that this one, I talked about this last night when I had my first job at the Newport Music Hall. I'm 6'2", and on a good day, I'm 200 pounds. I'm not a little guy in any sense of the word. So, hauling a 200-pound guy above your shoulders, trying to pass them overhead, it requires that the crowd itself in general indulges that belief. It can't just be a couple, dudes that are going like, okay, yeah, get over there. You're out of my way. You're bothering me. And, they're smaller, yet capable girlfriends. So if you aren't really into the whole passing people over your head thing and you're like, whatever, man, you're kind of annoying and you step out of the way. Yeah, that's what happens. You fall down. So as a guy that's not, 5 foot nothing, $120, that shit happens. So yes, so I went crashing to earth in a very real way. So yes, Super Dave, I think that's how it's going to have to be. Color styles, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I am definitely going to, I think the whole idea of the Super Dave Osborne thing is real and funny because I have lots of I already have tons of ideas because there's shit I did that I have on like VHS from like shooting like college documentaries. Crowds are fun, but I'm 6'1". It was like 21 last foot. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that's right, exactly. I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, and I did it when I was not 21, not even 42. So maybe even 10 years older than that, maybe 54. So yes, but you know what? You have to still enjoy it. That's the whole thing. I would do it again as long as I know that it's not going to be a crowd that's going to drop my big ass. That's the only thing that I would want to make sure of, that the crowd would not drop my big ass. Because that was no fun. But it does make for good, documentary. So hopefully, yeah, braver. Thank you. I'm not. Yeah, we're doing that now. Yeah, I would do it again. If as long as you have to make sure you have a couple of things. You have to have shoes that are on tight. You can't have shoes that come off easily because you can lose your shoes. I can attest to losing a shoe crowd surfing. I can also attest to losing a shoe while there was police presence, and retrieving my shoe got me arrested. That's an entirely different story. We don't need to get into that one tonight. But yes, literally retrieving my shoes. I spent the night in jail because I had to retrieve a shoe. The cops get very angry when they give you a direct command and say those words. This is an official command. Do not cross that line. But my shoe. I'm not living without my shoe. Uh-huh. Hey, it happens, man. What can I say? I think that's why I'm so fascinated about every time I, report on the Beatles or whoever else getting busted for weed in their apartment or hotel or whatever. I'm always like, bro, how does that happen? Usually I have to be doing stupid shit to get arrested. Yes, that happens too. Right. You definitely can lose bikini tops. Rock on the Range is infamous for that. I've seen that happen at Rock on the Range. Yeah, again, not the thing to do. Going in a halter top or a bikini top while having, hundreds of people pass you from the back of the show to the front of the stage. Typically doesn't work out so well in that respect. Just, even if it's just incidental grabbing. Because of the fact that it's hard not to. Anyway, shoes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. For sure. You saw that person. I guess you did. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, comment, all that stuff. All the things that you're supposed to do. And I will continue doing this. Tomorrow is Saturday. I have to actually get back to work. I've had vacation now. I've had vacation for quite some time. On the beach. We call it on the beach. That's in the radio industry. That's what we call it. We call it on the beach. So I've been on the beach for quite some time. But I have to get back to earning money tomorrow. So we'll be back to the slave pits of construction tomorrow, working those biceps out, lifting that barge, toting that bale, all that good stuff. So I'll do that tomorrow, building some cabinets. But yes, the whole Super Dave Osborne thing, I love that. I am so there. So expect to start seeing those type videos because I think that would be just fucking brilliant personally. I just love the concept and then some, truly. So, anyone have anything else? Questions, comments, concerns? I'm here for you, right here. Questions, comments, concerns? My YouTube friends? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Shitty smile? Shit. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Sit on the couch, and I told you I started to play Population One. So if anybody has a Oculus, one of the headsets, and you're ever inclined to play Population One on a headset, please let me know. Friend me, and we'll play Population One, and kill obnoxious people that yell and scream that should not. The screaming crowd. I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad at it. I'm not an ace or verified by any sense of the word, but I don't suck. I'm not terrible. I mean, I am terrible, but let's get real. All right. Appreciate you. Grateful for you all being here. Thank you so much for joining me and spending time with me and saying hello and commenting and filling me in on details of things I may have forgotten, because that's what happens when you spend 30 years in a rock and roll world. Details get blurry, lines get blurred, things are forgotten. Thankfully, there's photographs and people to remind you of what a complete shitbag you were that evening. You were so drunk that night. I was not. Do you remember? No, I don't. Yeah, that's how it happens. Curved casing, yes, curved casing. Curved casing. Yeah, right. Oh, I know. Trust me. Oh, I'm well aware of that. Believe me. That's why I truly believe that I am grateful for the fact that cell phone ownership with the little cameras everywhere did not exist back when I was in my heyday, because otherwise, yeah, I think I probably would have been ostracized, canceled, something a long time ago. Either that or I'd be, Mr. Beast. I don't know which. One of the two. It's always said if I ever got on Survivor, I would be the very first one kicked off or the very last. There's nothing in between. It's all or nothing. That's how it would go. I would be the very first one. They'd be like, oh my God, this guy needs to go. We need to get rid of him right now. Or I'd be the very last one because I'd be such a conniving shit. I'd just weasel my way into everything. I would totally just lie, cheat, and steal in every single way possible. Just be like, what? It's a game. Duh. You didn't see this coming. You weren't paying attention to the rules when they read them to you. I took notes. See, I wrote them down. Copious notes, no less. Anyway, all right, I'm going to leave. I'm going to let you all go. So I greatly appreciate you. As always, thank you so much. Appreciate all you're here. And I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow night, 11 o'clock. We'll do this all again, but completely different, because it is completely different every night. Jeremy Hughes, there you are. Look at that. You came over to TikTok. Outstanding. Good to see you there, Jeremy Hughes. All right. With that, I guess I'm going to say hasta la vista. Fade to black. Jeremy Hughes, I love it. Hi, Kens. Bye, Kens.